Hey guys, how you doing? You know, when we look back on 2023, good news in tabletop gaming was really hard fought. I mean, it seems like every time we turned around, starting all the way back in January, the wheels were flying off somehow or another with tabletop RPGs, whether it was Wizards of the Coast running the OGL up onto the shoals, or small companies getting completely hosed, or the closures of studios, or what have you. It just seems like nothing in the hobby was really going right. Although you could make the argument, of course, that we had a lot of small press companies that benefited from Wizards of the Coast missteps. But when you're looking for some truly positive news, some real positivity for the holiday season, you can't really look back on 2023 and say, that was nice, because generally speaking, it wasn't. And then today, as I was perusing social media, it just so happened that I stumbled on something that I think is pretty darn cool. Now, of course, if you saw the thumbnail and the title of this video, you know where I'm going with this. And it is the news. And before I get into it, of course, I want to thank Heidi Gygax for making me aware of this. This was over on her Facebook page. And of course, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed, click the subscribe button and the bell icon. It really helps us out. Also, if you could leave a comment below and tell us what you like about the video, we will do more of it. So this news comes straight from none other than the United States Postal Service. That's right, tabletop gaming and the US Postal Service. Well, let's take a look at what's going on, because as it happens, the 50th anniversary of Dungeons & Dragons is right around the corner, and the US Postal Service wants to celebrate it along with us nerds. Let's take a look at this news from the Postmaster General himself. And I, of course, will link to the actual page here. This is just an image capture, but it says, U.S. Postal Service reveals additional stamps for 2024. Washington, D.C. Today, the U.S. Postal Service announced 4 new stamps for 2024. This, along with stamps announced in October, make up only a partial list, with more to be revealed in the weeks and months ahead. All stamps are preliminary and subject to change. And look at what we have, guys. Look at this. We have Dungeons & Dragons art. That's right. The game, once branded as morally dubious, the cornerstone of the satanic panic, had the whole world up in a tizzy from this tiny little company in Lake Geneva, is now being acknowledged by the United States Postal Service. And let's go on. Let's take a look at this. Dungeons & Dragons. This stamp release marks the 50th anniversary of Dungeons & Dragons, described by its owners as the world's greatest role-playing game that has become a cultural phenomenon. By inviting participants to imagine themselves as wizards, warriors, and other adventurers in exciting and treacherous fantasy worlds, Dungeons & Dragons opened doors to whole new universes of creativity for generations of players. The pain of 20 stamps, 10 different designs that features 10 different designs that highlight characters, creatures, and encounters familiar to players of the game. Greg Breeding, an art director for USPS, designed the stamps and paint with existing illustrations. So that's just 10 of them there, and let's take a quick zoom in. And of course, now none of these are classic, vintage, OSR, old school D&D art, but we're also only seeing 10 of these. So who knows what the future may hold. Now, I can tell you probably we're not going to see some of the cheekier bits of art from classic D&D art days. Perhaps no Darlene's Succubus or David C. Sutherland's Type 5 Demoness Malirith, but I think this is a wonderful, positive thing. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to be buying a sheet or 3 of these stamps. It has been a long time since I have engaged in philology, but back when I was a little tyke, I certainly couldn't have imagined that Dungeons and Dragons would be featured on US postal stamps. And for one, I think this is really, really, really cool. I'm glad to see the government themselves, well, quasi-government, semi-private, quasi-government, acknowledging our hobby in such a cool and creative way. I'm actually really pleased by this. And I think this is just wonderful. And we can question the quality of the artwork by itself, kind of in a vacuum. But the overall gesture here, I think, is really great. Particularly, again, when you look in the past at things, there having been a big moral panic about Dungeons and Dragons when it was first released. And what do we have here? We have some kind of a knight before their forces, perhaps an evil guy there, and Tiamat. Of course, we have a green dragon. And what would D&D be without a dungeon? We have an adventurer looking up from a maze there. Oh, you know what? I misspoke. I was so enamored by the text itself. Looky there, folks. Looky there. Image number 5, rather. That is the work of none other than Larry Elmore, the classic Fighter versus Red Dragon, which graced so many pieces of D&D media. I've got this set of Dungeons and Dragons postcards here that has that very image on it. So yes, we are getting some old school art in our Dungeons and Dragons postage stamps. So maybe we've got some more iconic images like that. I certainly wouldn't hate to see more stuff like that. So I'm excited about this. And I hope you guys are excited about this too. This is a really nice, positive way to see out 2023. Now, if we could just get two things more. One, Wizards of the Coast, please don't shoot yourselves in the foot again and screw up something nice like this. And 2, if the USPS would please stop mishandling D&D stuff that I send in the mail and breaking fragile resin miniatures. That would be awesome. That would be a great way to end 2023 on a TTRPG high note. Of course, again, thank you all for stopping by and watching this video. And again, if you aren't subscribed, please do click the bell icon or the subscription button and the bell icon for notifications. That's very, very, very helpful. And that's all I've got for you right now, guys. I will see you around next time. Have an absolutely wonderful afternoon. We'll be back tonight to play some Gamble World for your enjoyment. So, peace, be good to each other, and have a happy holiday.